Hello everyone and welcome to yet another World Pokemon Federation Power Rankings presented to you by Electric Mangini the Amazing. You know them, you love them, it's me, and with a very attractive, handsome and spectacularly hilarious co-host. Introduce yourself. That's right.
I've got stage fright.
You got stage fright. That is very unfortunate to hear. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
The world's a stage, and all men and women simply players.
And that's why I'm constantly terrified of everything.
Yeah. So, we are doing.
I'm Keith, by the way. Hello.
Casey. Hey, Casey. We're doing World's Pokemon. Yeah, Rock, which is one of the side divs. They do Reggie Rock. Previously, I did like the Drizzle PS, I think, which is from the DGC divs. Yeah. So this season, the format is Pokemon Black and White 2, Black 2 and White 2, also known as Generation 5.
Yeah.
So why don't you talk a little about what that means, Mr. Casey?
Yeah. So what that means is that, well, so we're playing in Gen 5. So obviously only Pokemon that exists in Gen 5. But what that means for the meta is a few things. First of all, and the big one that everyone knows about, infinite weather.
Yep.
So Ninetales, Politoed, Tyranitar, Hippowdon, and Abomasnow all call forward infinite weather if they come in. If another weather doesn't replace them, it's
and
just
if they have
forever.
their weather abilities.
Yeah, if they have their weather abilities. And we decided for this, because tiering Gen 5, it's a little awkward because the weather abilities are very powerful, very centralizing.
Yeah.
The
Chlorophyll,
sort of decision
Sandrush.
made in general was that we would allow the weather setters, but we would ban speed boosting weather abilities like
And evasion boosting.
Sandrush, Chlorophyll, and Swift Swim, and also the evasive ones,
Sandveil
which would
and
be Snowcloak.
Snowcloak.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we banned the other ones are all allowed. So you're allowed Rain Dish,
Leaf Guard. Oh.
Hydration,
Sand.
Ice Body, Sand
Skin.
Force, Dry Skin. Yeah, all that stuff's allowed. But we decided to.
But we did ban Manaphy because hydration is a little too strong on that one.
Well, Manaphy's not even in. It's banned in Ubers. We also banned Latios and Keldeo because we're doing 8-person. We were doing 8-person drafts, like 2 pools.
Yeah.
With 8 people, so 16 coaches all up.
Very easy
So
for
it was
someone
probably, very easy for someone to get Keldeo in rain, which
it just doesn't have great counterplay in draft. It's already got very limited counterplay in the actual game. Similarly with
Exactly.
Latios. Latios is ridiculously strong. The other big change, obviously, in this gen is that fairies don't exist, so dragons only hit seals. I think a couple lose a higher base power as well, which really amps up Latios. The most
defog sucks as well.
Oh yeah, defog only removes hazards on target.
Yeah, does not get rid of the hazards on your side of the field, only on your opponent's
Just
side.
defog into the S field.
So the way to use it is your opponent has a magic bouncer out, and then you click defog.
And then hold it on
it
switch.
Works. Yeah, and then you clear your has otherwise.
You also drop your own evasiveness.
Yeah, it does get rid of
Screens.
light screen reflect, so that's something, but that's still very marginal and not worth it. So rapid spin is very important in this generation.
Rapid spin is very important. A rapid spin block is therefore important, which is funny because Ghost kind of sucks this gen because Steel resists Ghost and Dark, which is a big change. I remember when we were first looking at power rankings, we looked at a couple teams, and then he was like, "Oh, this team doesn't have like Ghost resist," and I'm like, they do. It's Sizzle."
Yeah, I keep forgetting.
Yeah. What was the other big change? So a bunch of moves of fire base power, Draco and hidden power are very noticeable. A few other ones do. Gems. Gems. So the rule set for this, which was decided after doing a bunch of speed tours with different rules about how gem usage, to have 2 gem captains, so it's similar to Z moves, except you can run both of them in the same thing. So every team is designated 2 gem captains who are the only Pokemon on the team who are allowed to use gems. They're allowed to use whatever gems, and they're also allowed to not use gems.
Yeah, and they're highlighted in the roster.
They're red.
You'll be able to see which ones.
Everything else is brown or yellow, and then they're red.
Yeah, also crits are double damage.
Yes,
so that's,
double damage crits, but Frostbite is only 40 base power, sadly.
I really wish you could I really wish that's like gonna be my main concern with this format. Double damage crits, they are very unfun.
Well, are you telling me that you didn't draft a Pokemon that couldn't get crit like I did? That seems like a poor decision in a format where
Don't
crits
spoil
are
the
massive.
drafts.
Also, no, the other thing is that ghost types can still be trapped.
Yeah.
That was a Gen 6 or 7 buff.
Yeah.
Dark types can still be hit by prankster moves. And then the other big one that my brain was thinking and then immediately forgot is that grass types and Pokemon with safety goals doesn't exist, as well as Pokemon with Overcoat are not immune to Stun Spore, etc. So we've banned Sleep. Sleep also resets on Switch in Gen 5, which is why it's banned here, where it isn't in like Gens 1 to 4 drafts.
Yeah, well, it's banned and overused as well.
Yeah, it's banned and overused. It wasn't banned for a while, and I wasn't a big fan of the tier because it was ridiculous, and I enjoy the tier a lot more now that it's banned.
Yeah, no, it's a fun tier, but like, should we?
Yeah, so we'll get into it. Is there anything else?
It probably is.
Yeah, like Stun Spore, you can Stun Spore into grasses, but Overcoat still makes you immune to Infinite Weather, and Infinite Weather is, pretty good at getting chip into things. So
yeah. So let's talk about our 16th ranked person.
Yeah, so 16th place.
Giro. I don't know how to say
Greeling?
it. So yeah.
Oh,
so this is a sand team, but I think a problem that we both had with this team is that sand doesn't make the most amount of sense in this team.
So yeah, this team has Hippowdon, which sets infinite sand, and that actively harms the entire team, with the sole exception of like Fortress and Magnezone, I guess.
Magnezone.
It doesn't help Magnezone because Magnezone wants to trap steals, and steals are better in sand. And my screen is currently bugging out, and I don't know if that's showing for you guys. I've got to put OBS up on my other screen so that I can make sure that if it's bugging out, you guys
can cut it out if we need to.
No, it should be fine. I fixed the issue.
Okay, so the problems I'd say with the Sandtier is that it's good for betraying what, like, Zoroark, right? Because
it betrays Zoroark. It wears down Toxic Rock. Lilligant gets less recovery in sand. Kyurem Black doesn't get like the ability to switch into rocks 4 times because it's taking if it takes even 1 turn of sand.
Yeah.
Starmie's longevity is also harmed because of sand. And then a lot of Pokemon Magnezone traps generally benefit from sand.
Positive wise, a double spin's very good. Like they've got they've got the probably I'd say all in all the best spinner, and a very good defensive spinner, and they also have They've got Magnezone to trap steals, which is nice, but I don't know.
I think Excadrill's the best spinner. I think Fortress is the best.
True.
It was the best Toxic Spiker, was what I said, and I thought Skarmory was the best Spiker, and then I thought Tentacruel was the next best Toxic Spiker, and probably the next best.
So they've got a very good Spiker. So they've got 2. But I think the only Pokemon that really super appreciates the rocks being gone is Kyurem Black. But that's very good for helping Kyurem Black because you will be able to keep the hazards off a lot more. They can,
it's got a lot of mons that hate spikes,
like
so having
purely
double
offensive Starmie, purely hazard stacking Fortress, that sort of thing.
Especially because
nice
it's important to remember also that Toxicroak is their only pursuit user.
Does Zoroark not get pursued?
No.
Oh. I hope Zoroark did. That's sad.
I'm pretty sure it
does.
does.
Galad not get pursued?
I don't believe it does. But Galade might. I don't know. Either way, Zoroark, Toxicroak and Galade are fairly similar Pokemon. They're similar speed tier, and they are both fighting types, so they'll be pursuing the same things. So even with having 2 spin blockers, 2 spinners, I mean, obviously that does really help free Fortress up to stack hazards, but it's also a concern that if you're not being able to break through it with Starmie, or if Starmie gets pursued early game, and then your Fortress is designated to setting up hazards, then your Hippowdon's probably going to get very heavily worn down by spikes. Even on Toxicroak in a game, where some matchups Toxicroak is very difficult to justify bringing, then you might also have Toxic Spikes up, which is very bad for the Kyurem Black and the Hippo as well. Update,
Zoroark does have Pursuit.
Okay, it does. It's still... it's got like 95 attack, is it?
105.
105, that's not terrible by any means.
Yeah, so it's not bad.
Got Swords Dance, I know that much. But yeah, I don't know. I thought this team was just... the other main thing that you haven't mentioned is that this team has 1 Flying Resist. It is Magnezone. It has no ground immunity, and their only ground resist is Lilligant. And this team doesn't have a spin blocker, despite having focused on Fortress, who's a very good hazard setter.
Yeah, I think those are huge issues, which That's probably why we put them in 16. Just
Yes, because they have no ground immunity.
Yeah, no ground immunity, and the only ground resist being Willigan is not.
Yeah. They don't love sand. They've only got what 3 Pokemon that don't take damage in sand other than Hippo, which is Magnezone, Quagsire, and Forretress. Which sure, all right, but when your other mons are taking shit from it, that's not great. Their like rocking is kind of weird because their rocks are on Hippo and Forretress because Quag doesn't have rocks, so you're basically going to be running Rocks Hippo a lot because Forretress generally wants to run Spin, it wants to run Spikes, it wants to run Toxic Spikes because it's their only other like hazard setter. So that's a bit annoying because Hippo generally always wants Slack Off, it generally always wants Earthquake, and then you have to decide between Whirlwind or like Whirlwind, Toxic, Rocks, and then a separate coverage move.
Yeah.
And if Rocks is going to be one of the, if Rocks is going to be that slot, then that's just really tough in terms of being able to do stuff, especially with no spin blocker to make that Whirlwind really valuable.
Yeah. Oh well. Anything else left to say? I mean, you know, like, it's not a terrible team. I do think teams in general are pretty.
The other thing is Starmie's its fastest mod, which is okay. It's not terrible by any means, but
like, there's a lot less speed options, I feel, without Megas and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, without Coco, without Pulp, without Zeraora, a lot of like the best super fast mons, Spectrier even.
Yeah.
Flaunty being banned because it's broken. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Number 15. This is another name I will not have any idea on how to pronounce, and so I just refuse to.
I do love me some Shrosh. So Shrosh is the other.
We put both Kier and B teams at 16 and 15. I want you to know that, Mr. Electric.
Well, you see, I had just said before this, I think Kieran Black is a trap for young players, and judging by the team compositions, I would say that the fact that rather than it being because Kieran Black is a trap for young players, it's more so that these are young players who are trapped by Kieran Black. This team has breakers in Terrakion, in Kieran Black, that are very solid, and then also to some extent Zapdos is a decent breaker, but it's then only got Zapdos and Mandibuzz as pivots, and Zapdos and Mandibuzz don't really...
Selgor kind of, sort of, but that
kind of. But that's also kind of true for Excelgor, because Excelgor is not going to be taking them like ice moves or rock moves that are being targeted at them, and then that ice move is popping into a neutral Kieran Black or a neutral Thracian, or you're pivoting into Jellicent, which is another relatively passive mon, Mandibuzz being more so passive rather than Zapdos, and then like you're just not making a whole lot of progress there, especially when also obviously they're weak to electric as well. Like a lot of the mons that are coming in on those pivots are probably not going to be taking the moves that were being targeted at the mon before they were pivoting in. It's a question of how many times they're actually going to get opportunities to do stuff. Oh, sorry, we didn't talk about Grione's gem captains. Kieran Black, very powerful with gems. Dragon Gem Outrage, Dragon Gem Draco, really solid. Dragon Gem Ice Beam if you need to. Some places Earth Power or Fusion Bolt makes sense with a gem boost. So that's really solid. And then Gallade is, I guess, an option. It's a bit slow. I probably would have gone Toxicroak over it because I believe Toxicroak is base 85 speed and then Gallade's only base 8. But I don't think Toxicroak...
like Magnezone or something.
Yeah, or Magnezone, but I mean, like, specifically, like, 1-to-1 for the same role.
Yeah.
It seems to me like Toxicroak is just better. But yeah, so that was my thoughts there. And then back to Shrosh's team, sorry. So Kieran Black, Terrakion, both very strong breakers with gems, but they don't have a lot of longevity if they're gems. And then Claydol is a decent spinner. It's absolutely a decent spinner. It's the spinner that takes the least from hazards because it only takes rocks which are resisted.
I feel like the problem, I think a Claydol does really appreciate good pursuit support though, and this team doesn't really have that, because I think Claydol struggles a lot against a fair few of the ghosts, because a lot of the ghosts have levitate.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
So like one of
not
the
that, but Claydol's threatened by them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so it really does like pursuit support, but even like the mid-rangey ones, like
the other thing is that Empoleon is this team's ghost resist, and most ghosts as well as most dragons, which is the only thing that Empoleon is also their only dragon resist. I'm sorry, Mandibuzz is also a ghost resist, but this is an issue with both of them, is that a lot of them have Thunderbolt. Like your Mismagius.
Rotom, Gengar, Mismag,
they all have Thunderbolt, and Mandibuzz and Empoleon are both weak to that same move, and then they don't really cover each other's weaknesses super well.
They've got Licky
Like,
Licky.
I
as
have
well
no
for
idea
ghosts.
what is happening with my screen, but I hope you guys aren't seeing it.
Okay. Well, they've got Licky Licky for ghosts, which is not bad.
Okay, sorry.
Licky Licky does, I think, it. Licky Licky's kind of neat because it's got some fun use for. I don't know how relevant this is going to be, but having what's his name, Cloud9, because I think it has Cloud9.
Yeah, it can reset weather.
Well, it doesn't reset weather; it just ignores weather.
Yeah, sorry, it individually ignores weather, which means
Yeah.
that it's not getting one down. It can dodge hurricanes or thunders.
Well, yeah,
and
well, not in, but just when it's out, the weather doesn't matter. So let's say you've got a hydration Pokemon, and it's raining, but you switch that in as it clicks rest. It's asleep for 2 turns.
Yeah, though I don't know if any. I don't think either of the rain teams have hydration Pokemon.
I don't think so, but it's like, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I mean,
It's just,
there's options. I just think that one is perhaps a more impactful one than is actually going to be something that happens. Oh yeah, my main problem with this is that it has really bad defensive synergy and offensive synergy. Like, a lot of the pivots trying to keep up offensive momentum are pivoting into Pokemon that are not wanting to take the hits that are being targeted at the mons that you're pivoting out of. There's a lot of like match over weaknesses, and then a lot of Pokemon that are like their resist stuff, like your Tangela. Tangela's not a real Pokemon, really. Like, especially without like the ability to synthesis up if you're running into sand.
I'd say the synthesis annoys it a little bit, but it still has Regenerator, and that's
Yeah,
got
I know.
Eviolite,
It's
and
not
I
great.
think Knockoff is going to be run a lot less.
Yeah, it's only 20 base power this gen. That was the other
it's
big
a lot
thing.
less.
Knockoff is significantly worse this gen.
Yeah,
Oh.
like 20 base power isn't great.
It's not something that does damage.
Yeah. So I have more respect for Tangela.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like this team, Claydol, yeah.
Jellicent is a very good spin blocker.
Yeah, Jellicent is the best spin blocker.
With the Cellgore.
I think Jellicent is the best spin blocker. I think Terrakion is a good breaker. I think
like
the rest of the stuff is
Terrakion
perhaps a
in
little
Gen
bit less.
5 is fucking ridiculous. Like, I want it to be known that we had to tear this Pokemon up a little bit because it was just destroying everyone in Speed Duels.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the best Pokemon I know, for sure.
Yeah, it's... So I think,
Especially,
I don't know,
especially for like a Weatless sort of team that isn't like Dragmag.
Yeah, this definitely isn't an awful team.
Oh yeah, sorry. The other thing, I completely forgot to mention this about Grione's team is Magnezone traps steals for Kyurem Black. Kyurem Black is the dragon that can break steals. Like it can like Fusion Bolt to Skarmory. It can like it's got very good coverage of breaking steals. So it's perhaps the dragon that it would be less relevant with. Whereas if you have like a Dragonite or a Salamence, the more of the win conditioning ones rather than the breaker ones, it's perhaps a bit more relevant. I have so many things that my brain is like completely forgetting to say because I have like one line of notes.
That and also it's like 12:30.
Let's ignore the fact that it's almost 1 a.m. So Claydol, Zapdos. This team's got a decent it's got an okay Spikes matchup.
Yeah, I
it's
think
got
the
a
teams
decent
in
spin.
general were pretty strong because of only 8 people in the pool. And points.
I will say right now,
well drafted.
The only team that I think is bad is Grione's team, and that's just because it has no ground immunity. None of its Pokemon like check spikes at all, and it doesn't have like a spin blocker, and it only has 1 flying resist. Like, there's a lot of concerns with Grione's team. Every other team I think is good, or at least okay. I think this team's probably more on the okay side. I think the rest of the teams I would say are probably good. Maybe the next one is less, a little bit less so, but like
They can go the next one.
this team is definitely okay. Yeah,
Trying to transition.
yeah. Legonian's team. So this team has
Garchomp's good.
Garchomp is
This is
this
the
team's
funny
special
one
attack.
where
I wrote Miss Magus. Wait, why did we say it had bad special attack? They thought Rotom Miss Magus, and
I don't know. Maybe.
we were also working on this last night at 1 a.m. So
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, no. I think this is a. Well, I'll
seems-
tell a funny story about this team.
Okay.
This is a team that So this was the second pick of their pool, and the first pick of the pool took
the
Polito.
first book in both pools took
Yeah,
Polito
yeah.
because it was
took
16
Polito.
points.
They were second, and they picked Garchomp. And then when it came back to them, they picked Starmie. They picked Tentacruel as the spinner.
Instead of Starmie.
Instead of Starmie, but it just really hurt the rain guy after him, which is very funny.
Note that the rain guy is significantly higher up in the rankings.
But yeah, well, I think they would Tentacruel on Rain is disgusting. Like, it's just so good.
Yeah,
But Tentacruel
so-
is still a good spinner. They got Garchomp and Scizor. That's a pretty neat combo.
Thoughts on this was that this team has good spin blockers, a good spin blocker in Mismagius, and it has a good spinner in Tentacruel. Tentacruel's definitely one of the better spinners.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's insane in Rain. Outside of Rain, it's less insane, but still very good. Scizor is
Why is
solid.
this team so
Aerodactyl
good?
is solid. Machamp is very strong with the gems, as is Garchomp. There's so many Pokemon that you can break through with the gem that you wouldn't be able to get through otherwise.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why this team is so low.
I'm gonna blame it on the fact that it was late enough. No, no. I know exactly what happened with this team. So this team,
Yeah.
this team is exactly what happened with this team. Is that when we're going through, we looked at this team I think relatively early on, and then every single team. Like I think one of the next teams we looked at and we thought that team was better, and we're like, is this team worse than Lego Needs? And we think it's like mildly better than Lego Needs. And then is this team worse than Lego Needs? Oh, I think it's mildly better than Lego Needs. Oh, is this team worse than Lego Needs? We think it's so like a lot of teams here are in like bunches of like super close. It's not that we think Lego Needs like significantly worse than the next.
Yeah, I
like, two or
kind of want to
three.
move this up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I don't think it's. I mean, I think we probably could have moved it up over the next team, but I don't think it's better than the team two after.
I feel sorry. I'm sorry, Legonine.
Well, this is definitely not a bad team by any means.
No.
It's difficult doing this, especially since we wanted to try and get this out pretty early.
Yeah. But you know, I mean, I will say.
Rotom is cool.
What-
Like having Scizor and Rotom is a very solid Volta and core, and then Domanitan is also nice. When you
Yeah,
have a good spin up, which you do.
What's this? Yeah, like it's. I do think this team probably would have been better if they drafted Starmie over Tentacle, just because I feel like
I don't know.
European Reigns.
I think this team appreciates having a grounded poison type.
Well, yeah, but you'd obviously just get a different one, right? Like,
I don't think Tentacruel's bad.
I don't think it's bad either.
I don't think it's bad on this team either. Like they don't
yeah,
really, they aren't pressured a whole lot by things that Tentacruel will speak to.
I suppose.
Like
yeah,
Scizor and
but-
Umbreon shut down so many ghosts and
Yeah.
Darks, which is really solid for this team. Scizor is a decent pursuit Pokemon, Umbreon's also a decent pursuit Pokemon, as well as being able to like relook stuff if need be.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
Lock Baton Toss, scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Foul Play exists in this. Yeah, this was the gen that debuted Foul Play, so that's nice for Umbreon.
Yeah, Umbreon's very solid. Wish support as well is very nice into Garchomp. It's nice into Tentacruel outside of Rain. It's nice into Machamp. It's nice into Rotom. It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
I'm certainly a fan of like Baton Pass. Umbreon
Wait,
for this
what's
team.
you know? Okay, they've got Aerodactyl speed too. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I think this team is only as low as it is just because we did it earlier on, and then we just kept talking about other teams, and then they went like slightly. So there's
This is
maybe
my
a bit of
official
reason.
apology to you, Legonine. Please don't.
I think you have a very
Yeah.
close team to like the next 3 or so.
Please don't send the Mafia after me.
Please do not send the Mafia after. You know, he doesn't need to be seeing how to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
13. We've got.
13. We
Keck.
have the Keckmeister. So this is I think probably the only team that I would say is probably worse than Lego Needs team.
I mean, yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry,
I
the
mean,
previous
it-
concern about Lego
this
Needs team that I forgot to mention is it doesn't have spikes. But a few other teams don't have spikes. So,
Yeah. Well, okay. So Kex is a weird team. I think.
our
it's a
concerns
weird
with
thing.
Keck's team is that Armaldo is not a good spinner. And
No, it's very bad.
there's a bunch of good spinners in 6, and instead of buying Armaldo and Kecleon, you could have gotten a good one. Because Kecleon, for those of you who
Well,
don't know, Protean was an ability that was invented in Gen 6. So this is
Yeah,
color
well,
change
obviously it's a mascot pick, right? So, you know.
Yeah.
it was- But, I don't know, I just don't love Armaldo as the spin-off because I feel like this is a team that does not appreciate, like, spikes or stealth rock a lot. Like, Ferrothorn hates spikes. Like, Jellicent does not like coming in, like, it struggles to spin block a lot more if you got some lasers. spikes
Absolutely.
down.
I mean, like we
Really
said earlier,
doesn't
Jellicent is the
care.
best spin blocker.
Raikou, if you're running like a sort of sub set, Raikou fucking hates spikes.
Or even specs.
It's-
Like Raikou doesn't have the ability to use its natural bulk very well if like there's 2-3 layers of spikes
Yeah.
up. And one of the good things Ferrothorn's really good at is setting up spikes. One of the other things Ferrothorn's really good at is letting your opponent set up spikes on it.
Yeah. So it's just an Armaldo coming in taking 25% every time, and there's no wish really to put health back into it. So it's coming in like
It's coming
5
in
times
chipped.
at most with leftovers, and then it's. That's
Yeah,
like
no,
assuming it takes 0 damage at the same.
And that's
you
assuming
know,
that it's only rocks up and there are no
Yeah.
spikes.
Yeah, and then it's dying, and I feel like that's not.
It's just very slow.
amazing.
Like, even if you had a comparatively bulky Mon in Hitmonchan is significantly faster. And then could have like a more specially bulky, less physically bulky Mon, like Coroginal, for the same cost. That has recovery. I mean, it's not got freeze dry yet, which is less great, but it's got boosted him power. Like, I don't know, this is definitely a thing. The other thought is that it's got a lot of mons that can function as breakers, but only really one mon that loves functioning as a breaker, which is Haxorus, because Infernape likes having the ability to like do Scarfing, like be a win condition. Alternatively, Raikou likes the setup win condition sets as well, rather than running like a Specs or a Life Orb set, especially with a lot of hazards up. That really decreases the amount of times you can get it in. Reuniclus is their only like mon that doesn't take spikes here if you're on a Magic Guard set. So that means you do like running Magic Guard, but you don't necessarily love running like the Life Orb set. You probably want more longevity to it. And then Landorus is like these teams rockers is Landorus, Ferrothorn, Infernape, and Armaldo. I don't think Armaldo and Kecleon. I don't think Armaldo and Kecleon can super reliably set up hazards. And you probably want to be spiking with Ferrothorn. So then it's like Lando or Infernape, which is what's doing it. I'm not sure either of them does. That's it. Haxorus very strong with Gem Boosted Outrage.
Yeah,
And Infernape.
That is a common theme. Dragons are very good
actually
gems.
do things. Did you know that Infernape can actually do things with gems? Because it can't.
Yeah, but you hate Infernape for some
This
reason.
is absolutely true. I do not like.
I
Infernape
think a fair amount of this team does actually enjoy the spikes that Ferrothorn sets up. Like I think Landorus, Haxorus, Infernape. Even Raikou will really enjoy spikes being up in the opponents because it sort of helps them.
No, Haxorus is one that really enjoys having spikes up.
Yeah, it really helps, but
whether you're running like a bandit set or whatever.
Yeah,
Infernape is a mon that really likes spikes as well.
They've got Jealous and very good spin blocker.
Yeah,
but it's just
very good
like,
spin blocker.
There's some issues with their longevity, and the bad spinner does not compound the weakness, and I don't know.
Yeah, they got strong mons. They have a good hazard setting. Like Drapon Disease and Toxic Spiker, they have a good way to respond to certain types. It's just that not having spin, like having good mons is less significant when most of your team is grounded. So like the only mon that's not taking spikes damages are Reuniclus and Landorus. So if every mon is taking like 12, 16, 25% coming in, on top of rocks being another like 6, 12, 25, it's just not doing anywhere near as much as it could. So that's why I would recommend getting a better spinner. Yeah.
Ready.
Okay, Bounty Hunters team. So this team, I would say, is definitely one that we compared Legranine's team to and thought that it was at least like as good as or better than.
I still feel bad. Just feel bad for putting Leganine.
Yeah. I don't think Legranine's team.
I like this team because it has 2 poison healers, so that's very funny.
Yes, it's very solid. Having both Gliscor and Breloom, it means that even if your opponent's bringing weather, even if it's hail, you're still healing during hail.
Yeah.
Which Kieran can also do, which is cool.
And that's very strong.
Okay, I figured out that the issue where sometimes my screen was whack was only an issue on my screen, and not on the recording screen.
Okay, that's good.
It's
got Jirachi, which is one of the best Pokemon in the format.
Absolutely.
Really good.
It's the best Dragon resist, it's solid Psychic resist, it's good Wish support for this team, which has a few mons that appreciate it and a few mons that don't need it, which is nice. It's got a good spin blocker in Gengar, it's got very good offensive presence with breakers like Kyurem and Gengar and theoretically Jirachi. Gliscor and Jirachi are also good win conditions. Blastoise is one of the better spinners. Arcanine is pretty cheap and it's pretty strong. Eel has insane coverage, so it kind of makes sense as a gem captain. I mean, Kyurem with the gem, similar to the other Kyurems that we talk about with gems, is very strong. Just needs to keep mindful about hazards. Yeah, and Garbodor is a solid spiker and Toxic Spiker.
Yeah.
Gigalith doesn't have sand yet.
No, but it's got Sand Force for the opposing sand matchup.
Yeah, you know what? Gigalith is the Hippowdon check.
Big brain. Yeah.
You switch it hard to Hippowdon and then get 2 cured by Earthquake. That's exactly what you want to do.
Yeah, it's an okay team. The fastest Pokemon here is Lampard, which I think the issue we have with this is that it's got a pretty crap Ghost matchup because Jirachi doesn't actually resist Ghost despite Steel's resisting Ghost. I think Gengar's weak to it, and they're they have no normal, and their ghost resist is Liepard,
Yeah.
which isn't exactly that bulky. So there is some trouble opposing Gengar just sort of runs through this team, so you have to rely on like a speed tie or something.
Yeah, I mean, if they're running into like Jellicent, then Blastoise is going to be struggling to take that down.
Yeah, because Blastoise doesn't have Dark Pulse
No,
yet.
yeah, no, it doesn't have Dark Pulse or Dragon Pulse yet. So.
Yeah, and what are the Pursuit users in this team? It's Leopard and maybe Gliscor?
I think we looked at it and Glasgow didn't get it yet. But like, yeah, they don't have amazing pursuit. So that is a bit a little less crazy in terms of just like the hazard game there. That said, its longevity is fantastic. Roost on Kyurem, Jirachi Wish Support into Mons, Gliscor and Breloom with the natural thing, as well as Gliscor itself having Roost. It is really solid in terms of its longevity, especially if you're running into a non-weather matchup and then Arcanine's getting the 50% Blooding Suns. It's definitely not bad.
Yeah.
And it also helps that, was it like Gliscor, Gengar, and Eel are all immune to spikes, even if it hasn't lost any up.
Yeah, so that's neat.
Yeah. No, it's a good team. It's quite a good team.
It's just
Oh yeah, sorry. The other... No, that was a different team. Yeah, no, it's decent breakers. And then I would say the only thing that's maybe a bit questionable is that it doesn't really have like a great way to win in terms of speed control. None of their Pokemon have access to like a Dragon Dance or Quiver Dance. So...
Yeah.
That's like the only concern is that they will have to keep the speed game in mind.
Yeah.
Every game.
Like Scarf Jirachi will be coming to a lot of games, which is a bit concerning.
Also their only rockers are Jirachi, Gliscor, and Gigalith is not great. So either Gliscor is running rocks, and anyone who's playing against a Gliscor with rocks. I mean, Gliscor and Jirachi are some of their best win conditions.
Yeah.
And also Jirachi is their main support Pokemon. So like having their main support Pokemon trying to run rocks is not amazing. If they had like an alternative, like a normal with rocks, for example, I think that would help this team a lot because it would help its ghost matchup and also give it the ability to rock up with a Pokemon that isn't Jirachi or Gliscor.
Yeah.
Especially since it doesn't have like the best flying matchup. Like Eel and Jirachi are both decent into flying types, but they're not Pokemon that you love relying on to check extra types on top of Jirachi already being like the main psychic resist for the team, and then also the only dragon resist. So that's just the commentary that we had.
Yeah. And once again, we'll say this: Kyurem, Dragon Gem, strong.
Yep. This one even
and then
has 10 highest
has
attack
a bunch
than
of coverage, so that's kind of neat.
Kyurem has 10 highest attack than Kyurem Black, so
yeah,
mildly stronger.
Okay.
So we have Brother Twang's Poop Squad.
Brother Twang here, the Poop Squad.
Sorry, we have Brother Twang of Twang's Poop Squad, rather. So this team is pretty decent.
This team has like a billion pivots.
This team is very heavy on the pivots.
Lando, Hydreigon, Infernape, Crobat, Fortress, which, granted, doesn't sound, which isn't like the most insane amount, but I think there's a lot less pivots in Gen 5.
Yeah.
And those are 5 pretty damn good ones. I think it's probably the most a draft has, really.
I
that I recall.
don't know that I'm necessarily willing to comment on that, but it has 6 mons that I would say are decent pivots.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the top 3 are all good pivots, and then Infernape, Crobat, and Fortress can all pivot. And Infernape's a particularly good one. Hydreigon maybe a little bit less of the top ones, but it's still solid.
That's 6. Yeah.
Just because it's maybe a bit pressed for those slots. Notable thing about Hydreigon compared to the current gen is that it doesn't have Nasty Plot or Dragon Dance, so it doesn't have a way to boost its offenses, but that's still fine. I think it might have Fun Claws, but it doesn't. It does, and that also Steel's resist Dark, so it's super reliant on its coverage to deal with them. But it does have both Flamethrower
power
and
Flamethrower are both good.
And Earthquake.
Yeah,
if you want to run physical, because Outrage is broken.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, Hydreigon still quite solid with the gems. Rotomosh very solid in terms of like they have a lot of mons, like they don't pressure the double steal Metagross Fortress in terms of like what we were talking about with Jirachi is similar with Metagross where you don't want it to get too pressured. But the fact that you also have the double steal there means that neither of them are getting too pressured. The fact that Fortress is a pretty good spinner is nice. Though it is a bit weird when you only have the one Toxic Spiker. That you're pretty Toxic Spike pressured. But this team is very strong into Toxic Spikes, even though they don't have a grounded Pokemon, because Landorus, immune, ground immune, Rotomosh, ground immune, Hydreigon, ground immune, Metagross, immune to poison. Infernape, not immune to poison, so it is affected by toxic spikes, but then you have Snorlax, who can run immunity if you're concerned about it in the matchup, and then he's immune to toxic spikes, and then Crobat, Forretress, and Drifloon are also immune to toxic spikes, and the only other Pokemon affected by it is Kingler.
Which, by the way, Kingler is cheap because it cannot use Sheer Force like at all. I think the only move
It can
that
run special
has-
Sheer Force.
Yeah, well, its physical Sheer Force move, I think it's only Rock Slide and that's it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have Liquidation, it doesn't have
Waterfall.
Waterfall. It's didn't get that until Gen 7, so it's actually kind of bad. Just thought I'd...
Yeah.
I don't even know if it has...
HM balance game, man. HM balance game.
Yeah. So this team, it's neat. It's just I think a lot of the teams until about like 5 are about the same strength.
No. So what I said is that I think there's like a quite a stretch from like Legonine up to this team, and then the next team up to 5.
Yeah. Okay.
So like up to 6 are in like 2 chunks that I think are very close together. But I think there is
So,
after the
what-
next team a jump.
So.
Yeah, Crobat's a solid mon. Yeah, we talked about why Fortress is a decent spinner. This team, the concern is that I believe Snorlax is its only pursuiter, or Crobat might also get it, but like they don't have super reliable pursuit. And
Metagross gets it, so they've got.
oh yeah, no, I think you're right.
But I think
But yeah,
the thing
but then their
is
only spin blocker is Drifloon, which isn't great this gen. It doesn't have access to recovery, so
Yeah, and I
not
think
super strong.
they sort of do, like, I think outside of Landorus T, because Rotom Wash doesn't have enough, Spot Hydreigon doesn't have. So, like, they've got Infernape and Landorus Therian to do sort of
Metagross.
win-conny things. And I guess Curse Snorlax, that's not even that bad.
Yeah, I like Cusslax.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So in my notes, I said they have mid win cons, and I do think they have mid win cons. Not amazing, but they're not terrible. I also felt like, so this was one of the last teams, I think, to put in their gem captains, and they have so many mons that work with gems. Like Landorus, really solid gem user. Rotom, really solid gem user. Hydreigon, really solid gem user. Metagross, really solid gem user. Infernape, bad, but okay with gems. And then Lax, one of the better gem users in like the ladder for its format, because like Gem Boom is insane. But it is what
Oh
it is.
yeah, I just realized that would be insane, man.
Well, Landorus and Forretress also get Gem Boom.
I mean, yeah, granted, this isn't the Gen 4 boost.
So I just realized it sounds kind of like a Jim Boomba.
The lovely town of Jimboomba.
It's a suburb of Brisbane.
Kids.
Jim Boomba. Yeah, so no Jim Boomba on this team, unfortunately, but it's certainly strong. It's got decent speed and it's got solid offense.
Yeah,
And
I
like a lot of mons that can take neutral hits. Like so many mons that have like Landorus is only weak to ice and water, and Rotom Wash is not weak to it. Rotom Wash is only weak to grass, and they have a bunch of grass resist. Sorry, Rotom Wash resists both of those. They have a bunch of grass resist. Like it's really good at patching up each other's weaknesses. Having 2 dragon resists with your dragon, really solid. Having a bunch of good fire resists, really solid. Like in a match where you don't want to run Immunity on Lax, being able to run Thick Fat on it for the ice or the fire type moves. Yeah, I really like how much this team synergizes.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't even know why it's. I just like a lot of the teams, so I think it's kind of hard. But I'm just looking at most teams like, man, why is this down here?
This team is here because it has Map Hazard Control. It only has 9 Pokemon. Sorry, I think it has 8 Pokemon.
Yeah, I suppose.
And it doesn't have good block, so it can't keep hazards up. And then Fortress is also both its only Spiker and its Rapid Spinner, so it's very pressed for move slots.
I suppose.
But you know, I mean that is, you know, saying a lot. That's not that much.
Yeah.
So it's got good synergies, but I just like if this had more mons, I would think it would be better. And if it had a better spin blocker and perhaps different win conditions that had like a speed control win condition besides like rock polishing up with Landorus or Metagross, because weakness policy doesn't exist yet, which is the funniest way to do quick win conditions.
Oh yeah, it doesn't.
No. Yeah,
See,
no weakness
Metagross
policy.
does kind of struggle to boost its attacking stats now.
It's got
It's got
Hungry and it's
Hungry
got Meteor Mash.
Yeah.
So Lax is like the main win condition, but Lax is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Okay, number
it's solid.
10.
So number 10, this is, in my opinion, this is like the this was the team that was like the top of this grouping of teams, which goes from like Lego to Thunderbug.
Yeah.
This is a Sun team. This
This
the
is not a
only
sub.
Sun
This
that
is a
was
team that has
drafted?
9 tails. So just proper disclaimer. There is a draft breakdown out for Thunderbug, which I will try to remember to link in the description of the video. It talks about some things. We ourselves have some concerns. So the first main thing to me is that Terrakion is this team's fastest Pokemon. Every other team,
Yeah.
many teams when we were first looking over it, we were criticizing because they had a mon at 110 or 115 as their fastest. This is the only team that does not have a mon 110 or faster.
Yeah.
That just means that in every single game, they're going to be on the back foot in speed. In every single game, their opponents will be able to have a Pokemon that they can scuff that will outspeed or speed tie Ditto, or outspeed every single other Pokemon in their game. In that game, Steelix is not the most consistent taker of Dracos. So the fact that a lot of teams can perhaps drop Dracos against this team relatively freely, it's not great. Rotom is an okay, but not incredible spin blocker. And this team's fighting matchup is kind of questionable because like Victini, Roserade, both decent, but Rotom's not a great one.
Well. So to sort of compensate that, I will say they do have like a fair few. Like they do have some very good scarfers to sort of help their speed. Like,
Yeah.
Granted, they can be outscuffed, but like there's just a like Hydreigon, Victini, even like Roserade, Ninetales.
I mean, Terrakion's a really good Scarfer.
Yeah.
It's just that like Latias is also a good Scarfer.
Yeah.
Gengar is a good Scarfer.
I'm sad he didn't draft either of his,
Mascots?
thingy ones.
I don't even know what his
Although
team's
mascots.
looking. It just looks like to me like Ferrothorn is taking it quite deep there, really gritting its teeth.
Don't. This is a children's show. This is a family podcast. You don't.
I will have you know, they literally have a setting for whether this is content for children or not, and I always click no because then I don't get
Well,
ads.
considering I just called you a cunt, that's probably a smart decision.
I don't even remember you doing that for sure.
I did. I did. Well, okay.
So
you're
Donphan
fine.
is an okay spinner. Payback this gen, it only does 50 on Switch-In. Last gen it did 100. So Gen 4 it did 100 on Switch-In, which means it was better. Knockoff is base 20. I don't even know if Donphan gets it, but either way it's
I
not
think
lucky.
it does.
So it's relying on like Earthquaking ones, and then mons like Mismagius or Gengar are ground immune. So that's a way that it personally struggles, and then this team doesn't have great pursuit options.
Is
And
Pursuit
Terrakion gets pursuit.
Does
Donphan
Terrakion
might.
get Pursuit?
I don't know. I clearly I don't know. I mean, I looked at this thing when we were doing it the first time, but I don't remember. Ninetales is Pokemon. Ninetales is just here because like they go over it in their video. But there are options in matchups where they like having Ninetales to boost the power of V-Create, which is, I mean, absolutely V-Create in Sun is insane. To make sure the Roserade gets like Synthesis up to 75%.
Togetic also gets 75% from Morning Sun, if that's a thing. Togetic might be. I think 1 point
Togetic
Togetic is a
costs
bit of a
1 point.
steal.
Yeah. See, when we were like going over the tiers, I didn't pour through the 1 point tier. I assumed that with mons like Togetic, they would just kind of like be into like 4 or 5 points where they normally are, and then not be changed down because of their
bullying
typing.
my tiering.
It's also my tiering, but it is primarily your tiering, yes.
Yeah.
Ditto's really good, and Keith kept refusing to move it up. I wanted it to be like 9 points.
I refuse to
I don't
move
like
it
it.
up.
I don't like it. I think it's very unfun.
Okay. Do we want to move on?
We
Hydreigon,
even talked
very
about
good gem
Vaporeon.
captain.
Vaporeon is
by the
the
way.
wish spot.
Yeah,
the
that
only
is
other
good.
gem captain I would consider is Victini, because if you create Fire Gem in Sun, sounds hilarious.
Yeah, but it's like
It's unnecessary. It's completely unnecessary.
It's gonna make calcs from like, oh, instead of 120 damage, I'm doing 160%. Who cares?
I'm just imagining it into like a physically bulky, like a melodic, right? And then doing like 70% to melodic with a fire move.
Melodic will still probably get 2 hit KO'd on the switch in. In fact, I'm gonna check that right
melodic is faster when 15 is at -1.
now. No, it's not.
Yes,
well,
it is.
No, okay. If you're adamant at -1 and they have no speed investment, it is literally you are 1 point faster.
Yeah, no, I don't know why you wouldn't run speed for speed drop Victini. That's
Okay,
literally what you would do.
V-Create, Banded V-Create in the Sun is 63% minimum.
See,
If
you could be
you're Jolly,
KOing
it's
off the rocks and spikes.
58%.
You could be KOing off the rocks and spikes with Fire Gem.
Are you?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Wait, no, is 5gem only 1.5x? It is, right? Yeah.
That's yeah. No, you're not.
That's right.
Oh, you are.
And
No, that's right. You are. You've got 3 layers of
Yeah, 3 layers of
spikes and
spikes.
stealth rock.
3 layers of
I
spikes
do-
and stealth rock. Plus, don't forget the 12% from burn damage.
Yeah. Oh,
Wait,
they
does
also have
Flame Orb
Resurrect,
exist yet?
which is a very good spiker. And
I have no idea
spiker.
if Flame Orb exists yet. It does, right?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the team. Vaporeon is wish support for this team. A few of these mons appreciate wish support.
Yeah.
Oh, we probably should have talked about the baton pass rules at the start, which is that you're not allowed
yeah.
to pass stats or substitute, but you are allowed to
Yeah.
try pass.
So basically, the sane ones. I think the ones that are pretty commonplace these days.
Yeah, I mean, some people just ban it. Some people allow you to pass stats, but
Yeah.
not speed. So I just wanted to cover that. Some allow you to
Okay.
pass subs specifically. Yeah. So
Let's move on to the next.
did we talk about Rotom yet?
Yeah, it's fine. It's decent.
It's
The
okay.
fact that it levitates is really good. Helps it
Yeah.
against some.
Give me just spikes.
Yeah, helps it against Pokemon like Donphan, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like blocking spin.
Which is relevant because another team
yeah.
does have non-fan.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but even like it's good against like the Hitmons, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
let's-
now we are making it into the second batch of teams, which is going from number
Yeah.
9 up to number 6. So this is Charizard. They
Yeah.
had first pick in pool 1, which is where
Yeah,
they
and
got
they picked-
Politoed.
Politoed.
And then the other dude sniped Tentacruel, so they got Ferrothorn and Starmie.
Yeah, and then
They picked up
got
Dragonite. They didn't give a
and
Dragon.
Thundurus.
Originally,
Yeah.
Charizard was 8th before they put
Honestly,
in the gem slots, and
Charizard
then they
would
didn't
be
give
probably
Dragonite.
a bit higher if he had Dragonite as the Dragon.
Literally, they were at 8, and then I saw their gem picks didn't have Dragonite, and I swapped them to 9 because the teams were
okay.
that close that I think not having a
Okay.
gem Dragonite literally broke it. Because I was talking about gem Dragonite calcs in my defense of this team being where it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like this team is. I could see it being tiered higher, to be honest, but I said that about every
I don't
fucking team.
think any
but-
team above this team is worse than this team.
It's got like,
This team has Haunter as a
I-
spin blocker.
yeah, that's a bit. I mean, Haunter's okay.
This team has Haunter as a. Well, this team just doesn't have a Toxic Spike Absorber, which
No.
is less relevant for obviously the Dragonite,
But it's
Ferrothorn,
got
Thundurus. But
Ferrothorn
it's relevant
and
for
Rain,
Politoed.
and it's
Politoed
got-
longevity is pretty important. Starmie longevity is kind of important. Obviously, Starmie is a spinner with natural cure, but that also means you're not running analytic. It's relevant for Crook because Crook is pretty important to a lot of the switch-ins to things on this team.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
relevant to Mienshao. Its ice matchup
It's
is
got-
pretty questionable.
It's got it has a very it's a rain team, and it's a well drafted rain team. I think it's Ferrothorn and Rain is stupid, because yeah, the ice matchup is a little odd. I think it's Politoed and it's Starmie, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Which
And I
are
think when you've got
weak to
Dragonite,
both
Thundurus,
grass
Therian,
and
Crocodile, and then also your Steel doesn't resist ice.
Yeah.
That's not amazing.
When you have the same one resist to a type that's your team is super weak to, and those resists have the same weaknesses, and then they don't even resist like the usual. Like Starmie is then also weak to Bug, Dark, and Ghost, and then Polito doesn't resist any of those. So like,
Yeah.
I mean, what you come in on an ice type as U-turns, or you come in on an ice type, or like a one with ice coverage as like Thunderbolts, and like if someone Thunderbolting into Dragonite isn't even crazy because you can go for the thing, or in Rain Thunder.
Yeah.
Like,
Getting rid of them. Yeah, getting rid
then-
of the multi-scale is huge.
and then are you going to be switching out of Dragonite into Thundurus? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Like that is the thing with Rain. It is a bit of a double-edged sword because your opponents then get to just run Hurricane and Thunder against you, like if they don't have Weather with impunity, which is
Yeah, absolutely. When
Something
your
to
only
note.
Hurricane resist is Thundurus, it's maybe
Yeah.
questionable. Like, only having one flying resist in general isn't great, because flying type
Yeah.
is one of the strongest offensive types in this gen, because
yeah, and then
Stuff
like
super
Hurricane
pressure.
spam into you is
Yeah.
scary.
just because of
Granted,
how
you're
how
also
heavily
delivering
steals are
Hurricane
pressured.
spit.
And then there are so
Yeah.
many steals that are well, this team's Hurricaner is Dragonite, which is only base 80 compared to generally like Tornadus Ethereum, which was banned because it's 121 base speed. It's one of the fastest ones of the format, and it's also got strong Hurricanes. And the
Yeah.
Dragonite's also got like the physical set and the special set. It's not like
Oh, Dragonite's got 100 attack.
yeah, I said it's 80 base speed.
Oh, 80 base. Sorry, I thought you meant 80 base attack.
No, its speed
not
is
that
the
weak, is it?
problem. Look, Dragonite's strong in special things. Like last gen, I hated Dragonite. This gen, and for Gen 5, I do quite like Dragonite.
Yeah.
All gens in general, I'm a fan of Dragonite outside of Gen 6 and 7, where I think it really got done dirty. Dragonite, yeah, Starmie.
Starmie and
115,
Dragon, like
very
having Starmie for Dragonite so that you can get rid of the things that keep the multi-scale
It's good.
is so freaking important.
And having a good
Like-
pursuiter in Crocodile.
Yeah. So, you know,
I just think that in terms of teams weak to Bolt Beam, this is the team that's some
they
of the most
technically
weak to
have a
Bolt Beam.
regen core, actually. They do have a regen core.
Ah yes, Mienshao and Ordino. Mienshao famous for being a bulky regenerator Pokemon, and Ordino famous for doing things in a game where knockoff is 20 base power.
I think this is the only team with 2 regeners, so I thought I'd just bring
Also,
that up.
Assault Vest doesn't exist.
No, that is true. That is
So that
something
hurts both
to-
Mienshao and Ordino.
Yeah. But it's fine.
It's
I think
okay.
as good
I
as
mean,
the other rain team.
It's got
but-
Thunder and Rain. I don't think you like ever need to run Gem on Thunderous,
No. But hey.
but you know you have it.
I mean,
do like
sometimes
Starmie.
it'll
I
be
don't
better
like
for
Gem.
like, you know, like sort of more offensive grounds. Comes
I think
in,
it would be
but
cool
just
if
have
you
it-
had a good
just-
Ghost, but you don't.
Yeah. I mean, I like Haunter offensively, but not defensively because it is paper thin.
Yeah, but it's also a gen where it can't break steals because this is a rain team, so you can't even run Hidden Power
Yeah.
Fire to break steals. So you're running Hidden Power Ground, and both Hidden Power Fire and Hidden Power Ground drop your speed. Oh, hey, we completely
yeah.
forgot about the fact that to mention that Hidden Power drops IVs. I knew this, but
Yeah.
I'm too used to playing in older gens just in general, like Gen 2 to 5.
Yeah.
Where that is like super significant. Yeah, Hidden Power Fire drops your speed. I believe Hidden Power Ground also does. I know Dark also does. A few
Yeah,
things.
so that actually
like-
affects the hidden power you're going to pick because, you know,
Yeah.
let's say you've got
You generally want
say
to
you've
avoid
got a
picking Hidden Power
Jolteon, your opponent's got an Aerodactyl, but you need hidden power fire to hit the Ferrothorn. Like, you're going to have
gonna
hidden
Volt
power
switch
fire,
into
you
that
have to be
Ferrothorn.
slower than the Aerodactyl now.
Yeah.
And that's a concern.
Yeah, it's a good thing that Kartana doesn't exist. Otherwise, Landorus would be dying to HP Ice Landorus because it's running Hidden Power Fire for Kartana. But yeah, so that's that is what it is. I think this team,
Yeah.
is definitely the first of the new breed. This team is super strong. I mean, it's a rain team. It's got Starmie, which is a good rain abuser. It's got Dragonite, which is a good rain abuser, and it's got Thunderous, which is a good rain abuser. Sorry, it's important to also mention, on top of being 100% accurate Hurricanes, Dragonite also has Surf. I think it might have Thunder, I'm not sure. Starmie does have Thunder, and like Analytic
Yeah.
Thunders are basically stab, so yeah.
So let's
Pretty strong.
move on already.
Yep.
Fluffy?
Fluffy's team.
Yeah,
Fluffy's
so
team is it's Goliath and Heatran, and that's a really good combination.
yeah, it's really strong.
Especially in this gen when Heatran resists Dark and Ghost.
Yeah,
Because like Goliath
this
is
is a
two block
team
Dragon,
where
Dark,
I
Ghost.
this is a
Poison.
team where
Sorry.
I like
Nice.
every mon except the obvious 3 mons that are like, what the fuck are you doing here?
I don't like the Gyarados. I think I already told you that. Yeah, I don't like the
I
Gyarados.
don't remember that.
Every other Pokemon.
Bruce,
that I
Bruce
like
always
really.
a little weird on sand because now it's like
I mean, this
it's
team is
just-
not. This team is not a sand team. This team is a team with sand. You could very much run Sand Force Hippo on this team, or not run Hippo on this team.
yeah.
But obviously, Clefable and Heatran synergize pretty directly with sand because Clefable has got Magic Guard, which means it doesn't take sand, and then Heatran doesn't take sand damage either. But it's not like they stacked up on things. I mean, like they have Volibite as well, which is
Yeah.
I don't know, probably okay. It might come to a single game and do something, or like maybe 2 games. But
Yeah,
I'm not massive on
that
Volibite.
defog I'm struggling to see.
The other
That's, I think, a
reason
bit
that
of
I
a
think it's
problem.
worse is it doesn't have stab knockoff, like strong knockoff. Like strong knockoff
Yeah.
makes a lot of these like
It's
crappy
not called
dark types.
Fable. Oh, sorry,
I mean,
I thought you meant the
Volibite.
team. So, yeah, I thought you meant
Yeah.
Volibite, never mind.
No, yeah, I mean
Mm.
Volibite doesn't have strong knockoff,
No.
which is the main thing I think that makes it viable in more modern gens outside of defog.
Yeah.
But yeah,
not
so
having
Victini
either of those
again
sucks.
is very strong. Hippo can help chip things down for Victini, which is cool.
Yeah.
They've got a decent spinner in him on top, which is pretty solid. I think this team lacked a good pursuer, which is part of the concern. I think
No,
Hitmontop
they've got.
is its
They
pursuer.
do have Hip on top, which is an interesting spinner because
But it's like
if you whiff, it's base 60 power pursuit because
Yes.
like if they don't switch out,
technician.
the pursuit becomes
But it's base 30 power because you're getting Will-O-Wisped.
you'll dodge. It's fine.
Fair.
Yeah,
Um,
Sand is interesting with Roserade because it only gets 25% from synthesis, but Roserade is actually a very effective offensive mod. That is another
Yeah,
thing. Can't you
technician-
change
oh,
the
no.
base power of Hidden Power, by the way?
What?
Can you
No.
change the base power of Hidden Power?
No, it's base 70. So it's not
Oh,
boosted
I
by
thought-
Technician. Someone was talking in
Okay.
the chat about how Technician in power's not a thing for Roserade. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's still fine for Roserade.
I mean, it's 70 base power. It's not terrible.
Yeah.
Roserade does always have like kind of the Moslot syndrome anyways, so it can't always fit synthesis. Just quickly stupid, bro.
Yeah. It
yeah,
doesn't
I
have
don't-
sleep powder either, but that's... You know.
Sleep powder is banned. Not
Yeah.
that it doesn't let it. Like, just to be clear, that's because sleep powder is banned.
No.
No.
Okay, never... I thought Hidden Power
No, it's just base 70.
varied between 30 and 70.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, I'm 100%.
I
Yeah,
have no
that is a
idea.
thing.
How
That is
do
a
you
thing.
influence that?
I don't know,
Just
but
have
it
even
varies between
worse
30 and
stats?
70. Yeah, so I think you can.
Let me figure this out. I am
Yeah,
not aware of how to change or impact Hidden Power's base power. I don't know if that's a thing you can do in Showdown. Yeah. Varies between 30 and 70 between generation 3 to 5. It can be any type other than normal and question mark, question mark, question mark. You get stabbed, but it's not telling me how to figure out what the base power is. It's not telling me how to figure out what the base power is. I don't know how you figure out what the base power is. It
Yeah,
just
but you
says it
should be-
varies.
Yeah, but you should be able to
The
influence
power
it.
varies
to-
between 31 and 70 in Gen 2, and then 30 and 70. Oh, the power is determined by our hidden power move calculation. Let's see how it figures out hidden power base powers. That's the type I am looking for power. Okay, so it is incredibly confusing. Okay, so
Well-
the way that you get lower is you have to have a lower special attack stat.
Well.
But
maybe
that's
it's
only
not-
like a special attack stat by numbers. Oh
Yeah.
god, yeah, no, the math is super confusing. Oh, and shiny Pokemon are only capable of having grass or dragon type hidden powers. Oh no, it's Gen 2. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh right, sorry.
what's
The
done?
reason is because in Gen 2 you have 15 IVs instead of 31. Okay, let's see what the power looks like. Depending on the typing, you might need to
This
lower your
is
special
this
attack.
is horrible radio. I want you to know this.
I don't understand why why did you have to bring this up? Okay, I don't know how you do that in Showdown except by like manually changing your hidden powers.
This is horrible. Fucking.
I'm pretty sure you'll have to have an odd base power of hidden power, so it'd be 59.
Christ. Yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Look, you're the one who asked me about who brought this whole thing up. Okay, so theoretically, you can boost your hidden power base powers. I don't like you, Keith. Why would you do this to me?
Because I'm a cunt.
That's true.
I don't know why. That's my word of the day.
So it seems.
So yeah. I think
Teach
the problem with
tutorials
this team is obviously
I don't like
Dark type
Gyarados.
sucks. The Ghost sucks. Zeb Striker I don't think is a Pokemon. I think you want to fuse all three of those together to have like a better Ghost because you're never ever ever.
Turn
Like,
them all
you're never
into
blocking spin with
Haunter, which is
Duskull
not a
ever.
Pokemon. No, Haunter costs 6 points.
yeah, you're never
Also, it's
blocking
sacred
spin
in
with
this pool.
Duskull ever, which is a bit of a concern.
I mean, you're
Um,
right. It's got Levitate, so it's immune to spikes.
Cool.
That's all I can
Fantastic.
say for it.
Yeah, fantastic.
This team is, I don't know, it's okay.
I don't hate Gyarados because it's a it's a win condition where they can Dragon Dance and boost their speed. 'cause
What's one that
otherwise they
doesn't
don't have a
resist ice?
Pokemon.
So the ice resists both their fire types.
That's true,
That's
but
why I hated it.
I-
So that's what I said at the time. I don't like that their word type doesn't resist ice.
it is a speed boosting base win condition that they
It is a speed
boost
boosting based win condition, as is
because
Latias.
they don't otherwise.
I believe Latias gets Dragon Dance.
Oh yeah, Latias is agility. Never mind. No,
Well,
Latias does
Latias
not get
doesn't-
Dragon Dance.
Yeah, that's Latios, sorry.
Yeah,
I am confusing the two for not the first time in probably the last like several hours.
you Philistine.
Yeah,
I don't know.
This team is a team.
It's a decent team. I like it.
Piranha Plant's team
Oh.
is in 7th. It's got Dragonite and Shaman, which are broken gem users. It's got Rachi, which is good for reasons that we've previously discussed. It's got Rotowash, which is good for reasons we previously discussed. It's similar to Dragonite, and Lando, except for the fact Dragonite is also weak to a bunch of extra types and isn't weak to water, so it's mildly less relevant, but at least Dragonite resists grass for it.
Yeah.
Jirachi is Pokemon.
I mean,
It's got
Jirachi
support for this team, which is
Round
nice.
2 Jirachi is a complete steal, and that's ridiculous.
Do you want
This
to
is
comment
another
on,
team that has
your round
a
three,
couple of
you know?
pretty...
Middle of it.
This is
Frostlass
another-
is a decent spiker and an interesting spin blocker. Its speed is good, 110. And then they have Zepstrike at 116, but I think that Frostlass is more of a real Pokemon. They have Hitmontop, which
Yeah.
is a good thing for a thing like Crocodile. They have a bunch of good Pokemon. Shaman's really solid as a grass. I think it's definitely one of the best offensive grasses. And Medicham is a solid choice band Pokemon because it kills things.
and choice stuff. I don't know. It's just a good team all around. You
Correct
got
me
some
if I'm
pivot,
wrong.
you got
Is
some
High Jump
threats,
Kick
you
lower
got
base
some
power
setup.
this gen? Or I'm
No.
pretty sure that was changed like in Gen after Gen 1, right?
Yeah, high jump kick is 130 base power right
Yeah.
now. I think in Gen 1 it was 85.
Yes.
That's when it was changed for Gen 4 apparently.
Okay.
Okay, no. So it's 85 up until Gen 3. Then Gen 4 it's 100. Then Gen 5 it's 130.
Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely run 100 base power and 85 base power high jump kick before. But I
Yeah,
was more of a
but,
sky uppercut sort of guy.
This is just a solid team. It's got, I think, slightly less special offense than like, physical, which is a concern. Like your main, I think you're
More
only
motion
special
Frostlass
attacker.
and Shaman. Shaman's
Yeah.
a really good one though. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know, this
Oh no,
physical attack
Frostlass
is...
only has 80 base attack, by the way.
I know, but it's got stab ice moves, which are broken.
Sure.
But Shaman's really good. I mean, it only has 100 attack. I don't know, like this team's
But
special
Shaman
attackers...
destroys your Spadef anyway, so... it's
Dragonite
like-
and Jirachi are really ones that can very much easily switch into it. Rotomosh's got 100 something attack, and it's pretty strong. Full stab Hydro.
Yeah.
Hitmontop's good. Like, Dragonite and Jirachi can both run physical or special, and Draco's broken, so you can run special
Yeah,
Dragonite
that is true,
easily.
actually.
And Calm Mind Jirachi's pretty good.
And having Crocodile, once again we've said it already, to pursue support for something like
Yeah.
Hitmontop, which is more of a defensive spinner, is very strong. But Hitmontop does have cute foresight tactics anyway.
Joel's kind of crazy. Actually
It's-
insane.
What?
This team has a water type that resists ice.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Sure.
Team has 3 different ice resists with Dragonite. And only
Yeah,
one
that's-
other white ice weakness.
That's neat, although Frostlass and Dharm aren't that bulky, but anyway.
Oh, sorry, it's got 4. Sorry, Jirachi, Rotom, and Dharm can switch into ice moves. And Frostlass can switch into some ice moves. It's got Thunderbolt. Hey, remember how we were talking about how all the ghost types have Thunderbolt? Frostlass has Thunderbolt.
Yeah. It's a fine team.
Yep.
It's-
Sorry, don't have any
like-
major problem with it.
Dude, it's like 130, we gotta fucking move.
Sorry, let me look at the Oh yeah, it's got really good longevity, was the thing I mentioned. It's got, like, so most of its mons have access to Pain Split, it's got the Leech Seed support from Shaman, it's got Wish support from Jirachi, which is really nice, and like, even Medicham can run recover. And it's got a decent spiker and a good spinner, which is good.
Yeah, I'm out of my boomer energy drink, we need to hurry.
Okay, so we have the last person in, like, the second pack. We have Kiese. Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
I don't know
hey.
why this team is that high. I don't like tiering my own teams, but positive wise, I got Garchomp and Scizor and Mew, and that's pretty strong.
Yeah.
Blastoise is an okay spinner. Umbreon is a pretty good wish Pokemon for both Blastoise and Garchomp.
Mew's broken.
Yeah, Jolteon is pretty damn good in this generation because it's really fast. Hidden power is 70 base power. It's one of the. Does it have Weather Ball this gen? I don't
No,
think it does.
no,
does
stop
it?
saying it has Weather Ball. You keep saying it has Weather Ball. It does not have Weather Ball.
I said, does it have Weather Ball? That was my
Yes,
question.
but in, like, the things, we kept talking about, oh yeah, Weather Ball Jolteon. I'm like, no,
I don't
no,
really-
no.
I don't remember anything. Miss Magius is okay. I don't know. I decided to, do the classic sort of me thing of just I had a Blastoise, so I decided to put in the Charizard and the Venusaur.
By which you mean, means I had to hold a gun to his head to force him to take it. And then I told him to get Ferroseed and Throck, because his entire team lost to Rock-type moves outside of Garchomp.
Yeah, and that's neat. Like Umbreon's good for
Ferroseed is a spiker. It's better than my spiker by a lot.
Well, Ferroseed is a really good pocket monster.
With
Which-
Eviolite this gen.
Yeah, with like knockoff being not as good.
Yeah.
it's just quite strong. Like it's
Yeah, I mean,
passive Pokemon.
it uses the fact that it's got 10 base speed to have very strong gyro balls, so even though its stats
Yeah.
are not amazing outside of its defensive stats, it still punches very much above its weight with
Yeah.
gyro balls.
As for the problems, this team just gets eaten by like Hurricane, which is an issue.
Yeah, Jolteon being the only flying resist isn't great.
Yeah, so it's
Um,
like relying on Umbreon and Blastoise
Yeah,
to
and then
like
the
tank the
speed gap from Jolteon to Mismagius was the other thing.
yeah.
Because
that's
like
a-
we were talking about previously how a lot of teams only have mons of like 110.
Yeah.
And then like the Jolteon being the only mon before everything is like slow.
yeah,
kind of, like-
that's not great.
Similar concern with like the Thrive team. But
Yeah.
Jolteon itself is still good. It's quite good this gen. Umbreon is really solid this gen, as we said before. And I actually think Charizard is pretty decent. If you can keep rocks up and just have like spikes, the fact that Charizard's spikes immune is really solid and it hits really hard. And
It's like
Venusaur
one
is
of-
like
yeah.
a decent Leechmon.
It's like 109 base special attack.
Yeah.
Which is
But it's also like spamming 120 base power Fire Blast and
yeah.
120 base power Hurricane.
Mew's quite good, and I'm very lucky to have got it in round 3. I don't know what
Yep.
else to say.
Mew's very good. Garchomp and Mew
I
are
think-
great gem users.
Yeah. It's,
And then the other concern, I guess, was that Garchomp is kind of like your early Scarfer. Oh, and Mismagius are your Scarfers, which are not great. You might
yeah.
have to
I mean,
bring
like, you can
Scarf
technically
Charizard or
run
Venusaur
Scarf
to a game.
Charizard as well, I suppose.
Yeah, I said you might have to bring Scarf Charizard or Venusaur to games. I mean, Venusaur is basically just like offense in this gen.
Yeah,
it's not like
because
chlorophyll, so
no
you can't
sleep
dominate
and no
Scarf.
chlorophyll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like Leech Seed's still decent as well.
It does have Weather Ball, I'm 99% sure. So
I'm
that'll
not
be interesting.
entirely sure on that either. Okay, so
I know it does, because we had that conversation where it's only
Probably
legal
did.
with over.
we
yeah.
probably did.
There you go.
Oh yeah,
So-
yeah. Sorry, it gets Weather Ball and it's not compatible with chlorophyll, but that doesn't matter because chlorophyll's banned.
Yeah. So look out, Rain Team. I'll be throwing Hidden Power Waters.
Yeah, it's 100 base
Spooky.
power water move that's boosted by the rain to be 150 base power move. Which,
Yeah,
considering
how-
that their rain abuses are thunderous, but
How
then
would
there's also probably
Ferrothorn take that?
how would Ferrothorn take? True,
Yeah.
true. I mean, you Sunny Day on the Switch, and then they think you're going for Solar Beam, but actually you go for Weather Ball. Also, for some reason, they're
Well,
switching
now
Politoed
you
Guardians on
Now
PS4.
you just spoiled it.
No one's gonna watch this
okay.
video. Yeah, so number 5 is Fate. Really, I thought I was... Nope, it's Fate, yep. So this team
Yeah.
has Laios, Skarmory, Suicune, Nidoking, Weavile, Hitmonlee, Chandelure, Wurmcut, Lickilicky, and Rampardos. Most of these Pokemon are real. Most of the Pokemon are
Yeah,
actually pretty
this
good.
is a scary team. I'm gonna say this. I'm
I
surprised
really
only
hate
one
the fact
Nidoking.
that
Only one
The
Nido
other
was
Skarmory
drafted.
team got Skarmory in round 3, and then this Skarmory went super early round 2, and I didn't get Skarmory, because I really wanted Skarmory. Laios is
Skarmory's a
strong.
good Pokemon. Yeah,
We've talked about
it is.
we've talked about the other Lanius. Laios is quite strong. Suicune is a water type. I am not a massive fan of Suicune. Weavile is so cheap because Weavile gets knockoff and Night Slash as its dark moves, and knockoff is base 20, so boost to base 30. So it's a 70 base power dark move, and Ice Punch, which is a 75 base power ice move. That's it. It is still a good pursuiter, and its speed is nice, and it still has like most of the coverage it has now.
Yeah, but it's just its
it's just
problem
not
is its
a
rock,
breaker,
like its rock
definitely.
weaknesses are really decimated. And, yeah, it's not the same Weavile it is. I am very surprised so few Nidos went because I think this is the only one.
Yeah, yeah,
when
it's the
Nido
only
is
Nido
insane
kick
this gen because
Yeah.
it's literally just like, granted it doesn't have
Easy
fairies
base
to
power
kill
sucker
and
punch
resist.
and 95
but-
base power ice beam, right? Or is
Yeah,
that
so it's just Nido King now, but hits
might be
harder.
stronger. But
It's
I think the
insane.
main reason why, and not that this is a good reason, but I think the main reason why is that people were thinking less about getting solid poison types because they don't need fairy resists.
Yeah,
And
that's
fairy
true.
breakers.
But
Yeah,
it's-
which is not saying that's a good reason, but I think that's like practically like the reason it didn't come to
Yeah.
mind for people.
It's an insane one, man.
Yeah, dude, Chandelure is really solid as well. Like Nidoking and
Yeah.
Chandelure and Laios really break every mon specially, and then they have like
Basically,
other mons that are okay as well.
Like,
It's definitely a more
yeah.
specially focused team, but the fact that they can keep spikes pressure up, they have one of the strongest spin blockers. Like Chandelure and Gengar are the strongest spin blockers, and that's really solid. Chandelure
Yeah.
hits so hard in this game. It's not got infiltrated yet though, because it didn't get infiltrated
No.
this gen.
Yeah, because it has Shadow Tag, and yes, it is not allowed to have Shadow Tag.
It doesn't actually get shadow tagged. That was just like a leak.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, that's right.
Um,
Yeah, technically.
Yeah, it was never released for shadow tag, so.
But it. Even if we allowed those Dream World early, we couldn't get to allow. But even if we do allow them, it's never getting Shadow Tag.
Yeah,
Get out
that would
of
be
here.
like Zapdos gets Lightning Rod, and
Yeah.
Heatran gets Flash Fire, Moltres gets Flash Fire.
What do you mean Lightning Rod, not Flash Fire?
I said Moltres gets Flash Fire.
Oh, Moltres, yeah. No,
Yeah.
Moltres still has Flame Body. The only
Maybe.
of the Dose
Maybe.
trio. The only,
I don't
the only
remember.
of that trio.
I remember that Zapdos gets Lightning Rod, which means that
Yeah.
it becomes a better Thunder Ethereum.
Yeah.
Marginally.
I don't know. This is just a decent team.
Yeah, I just wasn't a
think it's
massive
really
fan
well.
of Suicune on this to memory, because like the
Yeah.
ice resists are all kind of questionable. Like I feel like this team needs to throw Suicune into a lot of stuff, which isn't the best way to use Suicune. It's got decent spin, it's got really good hazards.
I
its
like
speeds
Hitmonlee
are a bit
with
questionable because it's
gems.
like Weavile, which isn't super strong into Latias. Like this team
And then-
either has Pokemon that
Well, no, the
fast
problem
or
isn't
strong.
Weavile and Latios.
Well, it's
which
that like
is
if this
a
team is
huge
running
gap.
into like Starmie basically walls Weavile sort of thing.
It doesn't.
I'm definitely exaggerating, but Night Slash is not a particularly strong move, unless you do get the crit, in which case it's still a base power crit, so yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty insane. But it's a fine team. It's actually it's better than fine. It's really good. I really like this Skarmory Latios.
No, it's an incredibly solid team. It's got
Yeah.
really good offensive like ways to break, and it's got a solid defensive backbone. A lot of its strong mons are also like able to take
Faulty.
hits like the Rotom
Yeah.
Lighthouse.
Yeah, and then Licky's just I think a very neat spin walk, very neat Wishmon for this thing, and a very it's very good for some of the weather it'll be pretty cool for some of the weather matchups.
Yep. Also, Hitmonlee
Yeah.
has like the gem unburden boost, which is pretty cool, and also like a fighting gem reckless high jump kick.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yep.
Okay,
So-
number 4,
Number 4.
we've got a Saiyan team.
We have the Shilgrond fight with electric. That's me. So Tyranitar, Excadrill, Alakazam, Gengar, Mandibuzz, Breloom. How many people let me draft that? And they also let me get Rotom and Sizepet after, but that's a little bit less crazy because Rotom V obviously is weak to rocks.
Yeah.
And then Lantern, Bronzor, and Shelmet.
So the
Bronzor
last two
and Shelmet
Pokemon aren't
unreal.
Pokemon, but you
That
gotta
said,
bring them
that
because,
said, Shelmet is my only spiker, which means I probably will have to bring it. And
Which is
Shelmet
bad.
does get Overcoat, which means it's immune to chip from sand. And Bronzor
Oh.
is also ground immune and has Overcoat.
Yeah, okay, I will say this. This is very funny that of all your Pokemon, only Gengar, Breloom, and Rotom Heat and Lantern are actually hit by
Sand chip.
ground.
That's right. Hard sand core. I also
By-
have
by
Excadrill
sand.
with Sand Force and Gems in sand.
Yeah, no, that's going to be actually very hard to switch into, which is a
I
big
kinda
reason why
wanna-
I was happy to put you up here.
I
And
kind of
plus,
really
Alakazam
want to
in
see.
sand is very strong.
Yeah, Alakazam in sand, Gengar in sand, Mandibuzz,
Yes.
Breloom,
You've got some
Breloom. Dude, I have a
You've got-
fucking OU team.
Yeah, your
I have
top
an
four
OU
is
team.
very strong. I mean, Mandibuzz doesn't fucking know you.
No. Breloom I think is also PL, but like Breloom
Oh,
is
Breloom's really good in OU.
Breloom is incredible in OU, even with
Yeah.
Wall Band, because
just- I-
it's Toxic Orb healing you back, and
Yeah.
the fact that it's dual stab is just super solid.
But
No, I've got a fucking OU team with Tyranitar, Excadrill, Alakazam,
I don't think it's going to be.
Gengar,
It's obviously. I don't think it's going to be as good in draft because it's not as good in draft as it is in in OU. Like it's better in standard than it is in draft in every gen. It's going to not be as good for the same reasons. But
Probably.
yeah,
I just think
Poison
this
Heal
is fun.
Sand is very cute. It's a pretty cute team. But the issues with it were. Let me find my notes. because
I have a
they
fake
took me-
Spiker and no grounded poison.
Yeah, that's a bit of an issue.
That said, like Excadrill, Alakazam, Gengar, Mandibuzz, Breloom, Rotom don't take like Toxic Spikes chip, so I wasn't super worried about not having a grounded
Yeah.
poison.
But
I looked at
like
Trubbish,
Alakazam
and then I decided that
with-
Shelmet was based.
Yeah, Alakazam on this sort of team is really good. Alakazam's just very good this generation.
And Excadrill's the
Um,
best spinner.
You've got a bit of a speed issue, don't you? Between
Oh yeah, so I jumped down from Gengar at 110 to Excadrill at 88, which is okay. Similarly, Fate's team had a drop from 110 to 87 with him only.
Yeah.
I personally think that that's fine. It's something that I was comfortable with. It's something that Fate was comfortable with, and I think both of them also have really solid teams. I think that's perhaps a little bit less important because a lot of these teams are struggling with top speeds, and I think that is perhaps a little bit more relevant when there are a lot of solid, like, you know, people aren't struggling with top speeds because one dude has Excel Core. People are struggling with top speeds because they're running into Alakazams and Starmies and Latiasas. So
Yeah.
I feel like
Anyway.
I feel like it's okay, but yeah, it is true about that, and that I think I only really have priority in Breloom.
Yeah.
And 80 base power Sucker Punch from Rotom Heat, of course, and 80 base power Sucker Punch from Gengar, of course.
Yeah, because with the base 50 damage. Yeah.
And Gengar is probably a good gem user. I didn't really know. I was really unsure about whether I wanted to get like Breloom or Tyranitar or Rotom with my.
It should have been Tyranitar because, by the way, that is actually another problem I have with this team. That makes me think I should have put it down. Where's your fucking dragon, mate? This is the generation of dragons.
We talked about this.
And you've got no dragon.
The team directly above me is about the same as my team, except they have a dragon with Dragon Gem, which is why their team is above mine. Despite other issues that the team
Where
has.
is your dragon, mate?
That's why this team
Speaking
is
of the
not
team
top
that's
3
above you, let's go to Lucas B, the 15 Zib Striker. That's totally how it's supposed to, be said.
Yep. I
I've
don't
got
even
a
know what this
Sand
is based off. I know he's Brazilian, but I don't believe XP is like a specific thing.
I've
So
got
I
a
don't know.
Sand Team and a pretty good one at that.
Yeah, I mean,
That's all
Folklore
I'm
is
gonna
insane.
say.
Obviously, Tyranitar and Alakazam, very specifically good. Bronzong is a really solid steel for the similar reason that I wanted Skarmory, of having a steel that doesn't share the ground weakness and fighting weakness with Tyranitar is very solid. Folklore is really good. Donphan is a decent spinner. Misdreavus is probably one of the better low-tier spin blockers because it's got very comparable bulk, pre-Eviolite to Mismagius. And it's got like Pain Split, it's got decent HP, it's got decent offense, decent coverage. Gastrodon in Sand. Sand Force Gastrodon. I love it.
That
and Salamence.
is something that I was made aware of just start recording.
No, I had thought about that when we were originally discussing the team, but I didn't say it explicitly.
If you can keep the hazards clear, Volcarona is insane. It's a very high-risk Pokemon, I think, because of how much it costs. But just,
Yeah, Fire Gem Fire Blast?
Yeah.
Fire Gem Fire Blast,
it's insane. Yeah, it's insane. Also, if Donphan can keep the rocks off the Salamence of Volcarona, this team will go freaking insane with the setup. It's got.
Sorry, something we forgot to mention for my team that is also true for this team is that Tyranitar is probably the best pursuit user in the format.
Yeah, that is, and it's very relevant for Tyranitar. For this team, it's Tyranitar's insane.
Yeah, that's big for Alakazam and for Donphan.
Yeah,
as well as for Excadrill, my previous team.
Yeah, that's big for a lot of this team.
Also, this team has the very powerful mother and daughter combination of Alakazam and Abra.
Yeah, that is true. Why mother and daughter?
Why not?
Because isn't Alakazam mostly? One second.
Does it matter? It still can be female.
Okay, that's fair.
Why do people just like always police the way that other people gender?
Don't assume genders.
I mean,
because I'm used to you saying father and son, but yeah,
no,
male,
father and son is
female.
sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Yes, I swear I didn't do it. Father and son is specifically like the Ludicolo and Lotad, and then the other father and son is Charizard. There are some combinations which are classically father and son, and some combinations which are classically mother and daughter.
Okay, whatever.
For example, Gardevoir and Gallade is father
We need
and son.
to move on. I'm going to die.
Yeah, Gastron's good. Toxicroak is technically a Pokemon. It helps the
I
rain
don't
matchup.
talk about Bronzong in this gen. It's fucking insane.
It is only
I don't
weak to
understand.
fire.
Yeah, being weak to only one type, and you actually get to pick what type it's actually.
You get to pick between being weak to ground and fire.
Which is, you're gonna pick ground most of the time because you're still only neutral to fire if you pick Cakeproof, but that's still
also your only like fire. Other ground check is Salamence. So
yeah, that's still a very cool trait, and I think it holds this team together really well. Okay, number 2.
Second best team.
You didn't put Puff upside down. How could you?
The eye is also supposed to be upside down.
No, you didn't
In
put.
case you couldn't
Puff
tell,
upside
because it's
down,
on
how
the
could you?
screen. But
Yeah, that's
sorry,
true.
trying to as it is appropriately pronounced.
Yeah. Shiny Puff's team. Let's talk about this.
The P isn't even upside down, by the way. Neither
Neither
is the U. Only the I and the Fs are upside down.
It's got Excadrill, Mew,
Look,
Skarmory,
but literally
Xatu.
only the I and the Fs are upside down.
Oh, that's interesting.
And they're also in a different font.
Xatu, Alumola, Weavile, Lantern, Dusclops, Superior, Blaziken, Drapion. So, talking about this team,
Excadrill is
just a
good.
really strong team.
I don't know if I mentioned this before. Excadrill, Skarmory, and Mew are all very good Pokemon. Alumola
Yeah,
wasn't drafted by anyone else, but it's also really good. Wish is very solid on on regen Pokemon in general. It's got semi-base power, hidden powers, which is really nice. Toxic is super difficult to check, especially on a team that's got a lot of like spikes and rocks. Dusclops is another really solid budget spin blocker. Satu spin, Satu Magic Guard is insane. Lantern's really good. We forgot to talk about Lantern, what am I thinking? Lantern's got full switch. It's also immune to either electric or water, which is really good at shoring up weaknesses of Excadrill / Skarmory.
Can I just correct me if I'm wrong? This is the only team that has Magic Bounce, and Magic Bounce in this is, I mean,
it's helpful.
Pokemon that are on it are kind of frail, but Magic Bounce is very strong, very strong. It's only on Xatu and Espeon, but
I believe so. Yes. It's on Natu as well.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I know someone mentioned that they were looking at taking 1 point Natu specifically for Magic Bounce.
There you go.
Superior, it doesn't have Contrary, so it just is like the other Superior sets where you click Glare and Leech Seed and Sub, and you hope they get parried.
This is just a good defensive team with some very strong breakers and
Yeah.
the best spinner and the best spiker and Mew, which can do whatever the fuck you want. It can really do that well on this team.
is pretty funny. And Drapion's pretty good as well.
Yeah, Blaziken's strong, Drapion's strong.
Wasn't the other
Weavile's
Weavile team
strong.
Weavile Drapion as well? Or no, they had a different dark with Drapion. But I remember the other Drapion team was double dark as well.
I
think it was
take your word for it.
I have bad memory, it seems. So yeah.
No, the other Drapion team does not. It's Kex. It does not have 2 darks. Unless you count Kecleon being hit by Pursuit, then it does.
Oh yeah, true. I completely forgot about color change. I could have
yeah.
sworn the Drapion was on a double dark team. Or
But yeah,
is it double poison with non-grounded poison?
I don't know. We gotta move on because I'm going to die.
Okay. So yeah, this team's really solid. Excadrill's a really good spinner. We forgot to mention the reason Excadrill is good is because it kills ghosts.
Yeah, because it's got Mold Breaker, and most of the ghosts rely on the fact that they have Levitate.
Yeah, and then the ones that don't also don't beat Earthquake.
Yeah, so it's like oh yeah, what's Miss Magius doing?
There's no Ghost Grasses, and Shedinja dies to Mold Breaker as well.
Yeah.
No one drafted Shedinja.
It's very strong. Okay, number 1. We have Filthy Cubone, the other Rain team. They are
we have
number 1
the
because
top
they
of the
got
bottom
Politoed
half
and Tentacle.
at number 9. Charizard, and then number 1, Filthy Cubone. Yeah, he got Tentacruel, he got Thundurus, and he took Taunt. And he also didn't make Thundurus his gem captain. He has a gem dragon in Rain.
Yeah,
that's really
so
significant.
this is an insanely strong team because he's just got Rain and then all the bullshit. Essentially.
He has like so much bullshit that even his 1.1 is just bullshit. It's Lightning Rod Seeking, just to shore up the fact that every single Pokemon on his team resists grass except for Blissey and Politoed. Oh no, Tentacruel's neutral to it, but like Thundurus, Torn, Bronzong, Celebi, and Salamence all resist grass to shore up Politoed's like grass figures, and then they use a bunch of electric checks with Thundurus and Celebi.
This is going to be a very hard team to wall,
Yeah.
because Thundurus and Tornadus can just spam
This is
their
a team
120 base stab
that is incredibly
moves.
strong, and also incredibly bulky.
Yeah, it's not like it's very
it's got
especially
Blissey,
bulky. It's not
Politoed,
as physically
Celebi,
bulky.
Bronzong, Salamence with Intimidate.
Yeah, true.
Pretty good.
Well, it's definitely very physically bulky. I think it's slightly less physically bulky, but it's still.
Yeah, but that's only because it doesn't Blissey to skew the special bulk. This is a very bulky and very strong team. This is perhaps
all the bullshit.
The emphasis on what you can do with like a non-Swift swim Rain team. Like
Yeah, so I think
this is super good. Like Salamence,
team,
Hydro Pumps in Rain. Salamence does not get Hurricane this gen, unfortunately.
no, but it has like
It
has
still has like
Wish,
Dragon
weirdly.
moves, and it's got Water moves as well.
Yeah. So
and
it's. I think it's
Really strong,
cool.
really strong team. Very, very. Like, I'm terrified of this team. This is the team where I'm like, hey, remember how I told you to move Tentacle up, and then you only moved Tentacle to 14? Hey, remember why did you move Politoed down? And the kid's like, oh, I really just wanted it to be drafted.
Yeah.
So he moved it from 17 down to 16. I have no idea why he did that. He never mentioned to me that he would do that because that was a terrible idea.
No. Hold up. It was at 16 when I showed it to you. Thank you very much. It had been 16 forever.
I don't know. Either way, Politoed.
It's never happened
really
in
good.
Speed Tours. We'll see. But the fact of the matter
Apparently,
is,
it never happened in
does
Speed
have
Tours.
weaknesses. and its weaknesses is it has no ghost and it has no spikes.
Yeah, it has no
So-
spin blocker and it doesn't have spikes. But not having a spin blocker is less relevant when you have spikes. Because what are you spin blocking for? Rocks? You can get rocks up a million times with Celebi and Blissey.
Yeah,
Like,
but,
Bronzong slightly less because it doesn't have recovery, but you can still wish into
and it
Bronzong.
doesn't have great pursuit either. Like,
Tentacruel
what's pursuit
has
for-
insane recovery in rain. What
what's
does this
its
team need to pursuit for?
Pokemon? So that you can remove.
Opposing
The-
hazards?
You,
But they're a
yes,
lot less
you can
relevant
remove
because you have
spikes.
Thunderous and Taunt. So you just need to, and like Salamence, they're all spikes.
Yeah, but they're
And you can
taking
pass
25% from rocks.
Yeah, no, like, I mean, removing rocks is just a lot more difficult. It's a lot easier to keep rocks up than it is to keep multiple layers of spikes up. So, I think it's a little bit less relevant. But no, it's good. And like the fact that Tentacruel heals back, what's it, 18% a turn? So you can take like rocks and spikes and then only be at 4%. You can take 3 layers of spikes and rocks and then click protect and then you're back at full.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Politoed, pretty good. Thunder's pretty good. I think the concern we have with this team is that their Scarfers are like Celebi, Salamence, and Politoed, or like Thunderous, which are Pokemon that you probably would prefer not to be Scarfing. Celebi being the one that you're probably losing the least by Scarfing, if it's not your rock of that game.
Yeah, I don't
No,
know.
it's really
this
solid.
is
Like,
this
it's
is
got-
a terrifying team, and I'm scared of it.
It's got 8 incredible Pokemon, and then Seeking, which probably can come to games. I've used Seeking in the past, and it's gotten like
I'm
3
gonna
kills.
be honest. If Seeking comes to a game that isn't like that isn't done like on purpose as a meme, I will be fucking astounded.
I don't know. I mean, I've brought it seriously before, so I could see other people bring it seriously. But maybe I have too much trust in people. Maybe you are just too skeptical, Mr. Keith. But yeah, so no spin blocker, no spikes, but no spin blocker is less relevant with no spikes. Tentacruel's a pretty good toxic spiker because it's like immune to it and it's thing. But you know, sometimes you want to be running like the sub protect toxic Tentacruel because that set is insane.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah, that's really good. Thank you guys for watching. That's the PRs. Just to remind you of the order. So in 16th we have Grion. In 15th we have Shrush. In 14th we have Legonini. In 13th we have Keck. In 12th we have Bounty Hunter. In 11th we have Brother Twang. In 10th we have Thunderbug. In 9th we have Charizard. In 8th we have Fluffy. In 7th we have Piranha Plant. In 6th we have Keith Sheldon. In 5th we have Fate. In 4th we have Electric. In 3rd we have Lucas B. In 2nd we have Drona. And in 1st we have Filthy Cubone. Thank you guys all for watching. We really appreciate it. And I hope you all enjoyed.
good night.
And yeah, like I said below, you can check out Thunderbug's PRs and you can check out Keith's channel.
Don't